Okay, so I wanted to watch this video with you guys. This is very, very cool. I think if you like Brood War, you obviously have an appreciation for old games. The fact that, you know, with the right game, things can age really well and actually get more interesting, where I think for a lot of people, and truly for a lot of games, you kind of use the thing up and you're done with it. It's gone and people leave and they go on to the next thing. So this video that I wanted to watch and react to was after 34 years, somebody finally beat Tetris.
This is Willis, aka Blue Scooty, setting a new world record for the longest game of NES Tetris by getting the first ever level 157. But something unexpected is about to happen.
Oh my god!
He just
By the way, just one thing I noticed, I watched this video last night before I went to bed. I was so hyped by it. All these Tetris players you're going to see are so young. This is like the oldest game. I don't know if anybody knows why, but if you look at a lot of the tournaments, not all the players, some of them are you know, older people like me, but there are so many kids here. It's crazy. And it's also exciting, you know, to see young people picking up old games and you realize the game isn't going to have to die out with the people that started out with it.
Became the first person ever to trigger a game crash, reaching the true kill screen, which is by far the biggest achievement in the 34-year-old history of the Pro Classic Tetris scene. So why is this such a big deal? And can a record like this ever be broken? To answer both those questions, we need to go back and start with the first unbeatable barrier in the game.
By the way, this guy's videos are really good. I was going through his whole channel. I'm going to leave a link in the description. I really like his stuff. Also, like, I think everybody likes Tetris. Everybody can appreciate that game. Even people that don't play games can enjoy that. But there's this whole world of Tekken, kind of like a whole world of Brood War. Sorry, a whole world of Tetris. I said Tekken. There's also a whole world of Tekken. A whole world of Brood War that people don't know about, and the kind of content that I make and other people make, we get to share those experiences and memories with. Same thing for Tetris, which is really cool.
In NES Tetris, released for the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1989, the goal is to assemble falling blocks to clear complete lines. For every 10 lines cleared, you move up a level and the speed gets a little bit faster. The fastest speed is reached at level 29, and at this point the pieces can no longer reliably get to the sides by holding down the side-to-side buttons. For decades, this was considered the end of the game, and level 29 got dubbed the kill screen because it always killed your run. Except it wasn't a kill screen in the traditional sense. In retro games, a kill screen normally refers to when it's impossible to get any further due to a glitch in the game's code. For example, in Pac-Man, the kill screen is reached at level 256, where a glitch garbles the entire right side of the screen and you aren't able to eat enough white dots to clear the level.
Isn't that interesting, by the way? That many games back then were just designed without an actual end? Like they ended because the games were so old and there was not enough memory that you would just kind of logjam the information and crash it. It's a crazy concept because I think now in all games that we play, you play them either to beat them once and walk away, or to beat them on all the difficulty levels, or to get all the I don't know, Xbox achievements or PlayStation achievements. You know, the completionist modes, and then you have, you know, speed running, which is, you know, a whole other kind of new world that's only been around for, I want to say, like maybe 17 years. But this universe of just going maybe forever until the game can't is fascinating.
NES Tetris doesn't actually have a glitch at level 29. The level is clearable if you can somehow figure out a way to move the pieces faster. And in 2011, Thor Ackerlund became the first person to reach level 30 on video by vibrating his fingers to mash the controller faster than the game's built-in speed, a technique known as hyper tapping. And because level 29 is the maximum speed in the game, all the levels afterwards don't get any faster. So it was theoretically...
I feel like I had a little bit of experience with this concept when I'd go to arcades as a kid. Did you guys ever play Time Crisis? Like the game with the gun and the foot pedal? It'd be like at a movie theater or a bowling alley. And I remember you could pull the trigger like that, or I would take my hand or put my finger through the where the trigger is, and I go like that and rattle it. You know what I'm talking about? Or my brother especially was really good at Beat Mania, but seeing him do these kind of roll taps, you'll see Tekken players do this and other fighting game players do this, where they'll like hit the same, like if my fist is a key, they'll kind of go like that. But it's crazy to see people doing this now on an NES controller.
Possible to go even higher. Thor's level world record would stand for 7 years until a teenage hypertapping prodigy, Joseph Saley, broke it in 2018 by becoming the first player to reach level 30.
You guys might have seen the tournament video of this. The Tetris for Joseph, Tetris for Jacob. I think James Chen has casted it and somebody else who I can't remember.
He won. Joseph's skill would allow him to win 2 Tetris World Championship titles in 2018 and 2019, and he slowly kept pushing the level world record upwards all the way to level 35, until an even faster hypertapper, Eric ICX, came along and became the first to reach levels 37 and 38. Now this was light years ahead of what anyone would have expected when the game first came out, but overall progress on the record was still slow because hypertapping only barely made level 29 speed possible. Deep runs into the 30s still required getting good luck with the pieces and near perfect placements with almost zero margin for error. In order to truly push things a lot further, some kind of breakthrough was needed. But then a new technique came along that would change everything. In 2020, a Tetris player named Cheese watched a video on various button mashing strategies and had the epiphany to combine a multi-finger technique by Hector Fly done on arcade cabinets and another technique that used a finger on the bottom of the controller to push it into another finger on the top.
This part's crazy.
He called this new technique rolling. And
look at that!
it allowed him to easily reach button mashing speeds over twice as fast as
It's
the
like a
quickest
banjo.
hypertappers. He became the first player to ever reach level 40. And although a hypertapper named Alex Thatch would end up taking the
Look
record
at the glove.
back,
Look
he
at the
would be the
glove.
last tapper
Hold on.
ever. New technique rolling, and it allowed him to easily reach button mashing speeds over twice as fast.
That's like the glove that the guy that moves the coals with the Korean barbecue. I don't know if you guys have been to Korea, know what I'm talking about. Or like what you use to like unscrew a light bulb. I don't know. This is crazy. He's got a glove out, and he's holding the controller. He's got his thumb on the D-pad. His 2 fingers on the A and B thing, and then he's just using the other thumb and the other fingers to strum the bottom. It's crazy.
As the quickest hypertappers. He became the first player to ever reach level 40. And although a hypertapper named Alex Thatch would end up taking the record back, he would be the last tapper ever to do so. Over the next few months, there was a flurry of new records as most of the top players in the scene switched over to the new rolling technique, culminating in Eric ICX, now a roller, shattering the record in 2021 by making it all the way to level 95. With the fastest speed in the game now fully mastered, it seemed like the sky was the limit for how far players could go, but an even bigger challenge than speed was looming on the horizon. NES Tetris was originally designed with 10 normal-looking color palettes for levels 0 to 9 that were bright, colorful, and easily visible. Every time you go up 10 levels, the game then loops back around to the first color scheme. But because this game was coded in the 1980s, everything is written to try and be extremely memory efficient. So the line of code that's supposed to determine the level color glitches out starting at level 138 and starts pulling data from outside the color table, resulting in a bunch of random, bizarre color palettes that can be difficult to see. If you're into code and wondering exactly how and why this happens, Hydrant Dude has a great 2-minute explainer video on the subject that I'll link in the description. Obviously, the colors glitch wasn't a problem when the game first came out because making it to level 138 would have been a pipe dream. But now, players were actually on the verge of getting
Look at his
there.
hands.
Technically, the first player to reach the glitch colors was Fractal161, but he opted
Again,
to go
all these kids are so young. Is there like an online community for this? Could somebody let me know? I'm totally fascinated by this. We should run some kind of a tournament for this or something. This is I mean, this is a game that is inherently not online. He's clearly playing with an actual Nintendo. He's playing with an antique. But it seems like all these kids are connected together, clearly sharing information. Anyways.
for it on the much lesser played PAL version of the game.
Fractal streaming right now? Oh my
runs
God.
20% slower than the much
We
more
gotta rate him
common
later.
NTSC version that is used in the World Championships and most of the main leaderboards, including this one. Eric ICX became the first person to achieve glitched colors on the
Jesus.
NTSC version, impressively managing to get it in an actual tournament match and making it all the way to level 146 before
I love that we're just
dim
watching this hand move in the dark.
level cost him to top out. He ended up winning the 2022 World Championships a few months later. But now the combination of challenges with visibility and sheer endurance were starting to seriously slow down progress again, as Eric's world record game had lasted nearly 40 minutes. It took over a year before anyone was able to get past the dim level that had taken out Eric, and when a player named Pixel Andy finally managed to beat it, he got taken out by an even more difficult level featuring pieces that were
Look at
nearly
that.
pitch black.
Wait, the colors. I can't see it. No, I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it on my screen. It just went dark.
So what was the future of the record? Slow incremental progress at increasingly difficult to see levels? Well, it turns out the most significant achievement yet was closer than anyone thought. Back in 2021, a programmer, Greg Cannon, made a Tetris-playing AI called Stack Rabbit in order to push the game far beyond what was possible for a human. Not limited by stamina or eyesight, Stack Rabbit was able to fly past the most difficult glitched color levels with ease, and Greg ended up coining names for each of the color schemes as they passed, such as calling the dim level that took out Eric Dusk, and the black level that took out Andy Charcoal. Stack Rabbit would continue to play through even more bizarre glitches that happened later on, such as level 235, which lasts for 800 lines instead of the typical 10. But eventually, the game just can't function anymore.
And there's the long bar, and it's gonna crash the game with that Tetris into level 237. Its final score is 102 million.
So what's going on here? In the simplest possible terms, the game is running on code, which is instructions on what to do next, and RAM, which is its workspace where it calculates things and keeps track of what it's doing. The game's code starts to become really inefficient on very high levels because no one was expected to get this far, and eventually a glitch happens where the game switches from reading instructions from the code to reading the RAM as if it were code. If the resulting garble generates a stop command, it completely breaks the game, leading to it being called the true kill screen. If you want the full technical breakdown, again, Hydrant Dude has a great video on the topic that I'll link in the description. But here's the thing, the game crash doesn't always happen in the same spot, because the glitch can get triggered by very specific things depending on the level, such as what piece you have or how many lines you clear at once. And Stack Rabbit was actually playing on a modified version of the game that has 7 digits in the score counter instead of 6, so it didn't have the same crash spots as an unmodified version. In 2022, there was a massive effort put into researching the mechanics of the crash, and Hydrant Dude made a spreadsheet tallying up every possible situation that could cause the crash to be triggered. Yeah, I know, the same guy again. This guy's the MVP of documenting all this stuff.
He really
and
is.
It turns out that the earliest possible trigger for the crash on the unmodified original version of the game was a single at the transition into level 155. That actually wasn't too far off from the world record. A human might actually be able to do that, provided they could get through Dusk and Charcoal. In 2023, after Fractal won the World Championships and firmly established himself as the best current player in the scene, he decided to start live streaming daily attempts to get the crash. But on the very first night of his grind, a player named Blue Scooty shocked the scene by being the first player to ever beat Charcoal and make it all the way to level 153. Not only did this set a new level world record and score world record to boot, it was only 18 lines away from the first crash. Scooty was a newer player in the scene who'd recently been on
so
a
young.
meteoric rise, achieving a surprise semifinals finish in the 2023 World Championships. And after getting the record, he decided to challenge Fractal and start grinding for the game crash himself, and later said in an interview,
You know, I just thought if I was so close, I might as well race him for it and try and beat him to the crash.
but Fractal looks like he could be getting
By the way,
it
I do
at
wonder when
any
I just see these guys hit. Would this? We already know StarCraft's not great for the wrists. What do you think this does? This is a very specific repetition. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're all so young, but yeah, you gotta wonder. I guess you probably can't play the game for that long, right? You gotta let your wrist rest and stretch.
moment. Less than 24 hours later, on day 2 of the grind, he had a game early on that went all the way to the level right before the glitched colors.
Are you ready?
Later on in the night, he succeeded in getting to the glitched colors, but then disaster struck when he hit dusk.
Oh my god. No, I got completely blindsided.
Jesus.
Despite not getting the game crash, this game would actually end up taking back the score world record from Blue Scooty. On day 3, Fractal started up again, ready for another evening of attempts. But just 20 minutes into the stream, the chat alerted him that Blue Scooty was currently on a big run.
Wait, what is Scooty at right now? Oh my god.
This is so sick.
Blue Scooty was on a roll, having reached the glitched colors and easily coasted through dusk with a low board. Next up was Charcoal. He had a little bit of trouble at the beginning, but managed to clutch a line piece to the left to get the stack down to complete the level. Now it was just a matter of carrying the game to the finish line. He slowly kept downing levels, passing his old record and making it to 154. This was it! He just needed a single on the final line clear to get it. But then 4 lines in, he misdropped. Now in dig mode, he started optimizing his stack for survival instead of singles. He managed to open his board just in time to fill the long bar dependency, but oh no!
I missed it.
He'd accidentally passed the crash trigger by clearing a triple instead of a single. Scooty marched onward, unsure of when he'd get another chance.
Oh my god. Just please crash.
The next available target was on level 157, where every 1 line clear would have a 73% chance of triggering the crash. But as Scooty—
This is like a movie script. This is crazy. Remember bad movies about tech, like in the 80s, and it's like, that's not how it works. Like, you know nothing about computers and games. No, apparently this is how it works. This is so crazy.
For the level, he suddenly started to misdrop again. Nothing was clearing any lines. His chances were slipping away. But in a last-ditch effort with a J piece to the left, it happened.
Oh my god!
Immediately, reactions poured in from the rest of the community.
He did it! He did it! Wait! He got it! Oh my god! Let's go!
The truly crazy thing about this achievement is that NES Tetris had always been considered an unbeatable game. No matter how good you played, eventually your board would reach the top of the screen and the game would be over. This was the first time ever where instead of the game beating the player had beaten the game.
I love the way
And
this script
really
is written.
Feels like a turning point for the scene as a whole. At the time Cheese invented the new rolling playstyle, he expressed concern that it was too OP and would eventually destroy the scene. But instead, it's caused the scene to have a complete renaissance. Concerns about tournament games going too long due to endless lineouts have instead been replaced by ROM patches adding a new faster speed at level 39 that resulted in exciting battles for bigger line clears that are worth more points. The level and score world records, once thought to be getting stale as they turned into a mere endurance challenge, had suddenly given us the most exciting record chase the community had ever seen, with the world records changing hands multiple times in a single week. And now that the game crash has officially happened, there's a ton of possibilities of where the record
Is he
chasing
holding the
can
controller
go
with his foot? Yeah, that's his foot.
from here. Players could go for speedrunning the crash or trying to get the highest possible score before it.
No, Fractal, he said that he was interested in going for an efficient game crash. So I think he's definitely going to be coming back for the world record.
If he's gonna go for an efficient game crash, then I might as well, too.
And Blue Scooty, as a person, feels like a representation of the very best of what the community is. At live events, he's always been a cheerful,
He's holding it with his foot, too.
competitor, and he's shown that hard work community is. At live events,
Boom. I guess that would make sense, though. If you're going to hold the controller like that, hold on. You can park it there. I don't have a foot cam here, but sorry.
he's always been a cheerful and gracious competitor, and he's shown that hard work really can pay off, as he's said that he practices around 3 to 5 hours a day.
Do you have anything to say to the young players out there that may get inspired to play because of this historic game?
If you set your mind to something and you put work into it, most likely you will get it, if you try hard enough.
His first place finish at the Kansas City Regional Championship this
Where I'm from, Kansas City?
past month was his first live tournament victory. memory. And if you'd like to see him play live again, his next appearance will be at the Heart of Texas Regional Championship in just a few weeks. But one final question remains. After the game crash, is there any major milestone left to achieve in the game? As it turns out, the answer is yes. What if, instead of intentionally trying to get the crash as quickly as possible, you instead try to avoid it? Just how far could you possibly get? In order to push the game further beyond what humans and even AIs can currently do, some people in the community have constructed tool-assisted speedruns, aka TASes, where instead of being played in real time, every move is manually entered in. This allows them to simulate what it would look like if a player was able to avoid all the potential traps that could trigger the crash. This would become almost a fundamentally different type of challenge than any previous one in the game.
This is so crazy.
Instead of being rivals, the player in the game will be working together as a team, with the player doing everything they can to ease the burden of the game's ancient code limping along, keeping them both alive. If both the player and the game survived every pitfall, the final level they would reach is level 255, with a glitched color scheme of pure red. This is the last level that can be stored in the game's menu.
Dude, this sounds like some gamer Indiana Jones shit. Like, it's all, you know, like when they go through like an ancient temple and there's all these rules and you got to figure it out. Even the fact that this ends in red is crazy. Yeah, the fact that it's pure red is poetry. It's like I said, it's like a bad 80s movie or book about gaming where it's like it would totally sell to boomers who don't know anything about games or coding, but apparently, no, this is how it is.
Memory. And things are so unstable that 5 of the 7 pieces in the game could trigger the crash when falling normally. So the player basically has to push down on every piece to survive. So what happens when the level clears? It loops right back around to level 0. The game officially resets back to the beginning. If the original kill screen was the game's way of beating the player, and the true kill screen was the player's way of beating the game, beating level 255 is the rebirth screen, with both the player and the game emerging.
This is so well written.
If it can be done someday, it will be the ultimate final achievement of the original game.
If I can make millions of dollars, I would host a tournament for this. I would cast it. I can't believe how good that video is. That's insane.